Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and today I'm actually rather quite excited because we're going to be looking at a song by one of my absolute favourite bands. I've been a huge fan of this band for as long as I've been listening to metal, and that is Hypocrisy. The first time I heard one of their tracks, it was The Pleasure of Molestation of Osculum Obsonum. That was like years ago, like in the really early 90s, I think it was. I remember I was getting ready to go to school, secondary school or high school, depending, and my older brother playing a Headbangers Ball that he'd recorded off MTV, and this track was on it, and I absolutely fell in love with the band the moment I heard The Pleasure of Molestation. So earlier this month, they released a new track, and this is going to be off their 13th studio album, which will be the first album they've produced in 8 years. So I'm really looking forward to this. You know, I've really enjoyed their music. I'm curious to see if or how their sound has changed. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. A little bit of information about the band. Hypocrisy is a Swedish death metal band formed in October of 1991 in Ludvika by Peter Tegren. I cannot pronounce his last name. After spending 3 years in Fort Lauderdale in Florida, in 1990, Peter Tegren returned to his homeland of Sweden to form his own band. Hypocrisy's early releases were noted as being well-executed death metal, but were widely panned for not being particularly innovative. The criticism waned, however, as the band matured, cultivating a more distinctive sound, as well as implying an introspective lyrical approach. Later releases had more atmospheric sound, with lyrical exploration of aliens and abduction experiences. So, you know, they did change their sound quite a lot, but they still sort of maintained that sort of classic death metal sound, but they changed it up a bit. And you know, I think I've got all of their albums. I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I do really love their music. I'm a huge fan of their stuff. Yeah, so this track comes off Hypocrisy's 13th album, which is called Worship, which is released on the November 26th, 2021, and it's the new single they've released called Chemical Whore. Now, given the name of the actual song, Chemical Whore, I have a vague idea of what it might be about, but I could be wrong. I have got lyrics here for the track. They were underneath the video on YouTube, so they should be 100% accurate. We shall see. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. Like I said, big fan of the band, have been a big fan for a very long time. So yeah, let's have a look at this and see what we have. So Chemical Whore by Hypocrisy, let's have a look. Yeah, lovely. But there we go. Chemical Whore by Hypocrisy. Now, given what the name was, I kind of had an idea of what it was, and I was sort of half right. I assumed it was going to be something to do about drugs or drug addicts, but I am only kind of half right, because this is about the pharmaceuticals industry and how everything these days is treated with pills or drugs of some kind. You know, I was thinking more along the lines of like cocaine and, you know, illegal drugs. These are pharmaceutical companies who don't care about your health. They don't actually treat people anymore. They just keep throwing more and more pills at you. And, you know, that's not so much in the UK, but like in America, these pharmaceutical companies are charging extortionate amounts of money for like medications that people need. And, you know, these people I mean, I'm pretty sure I've heard tell of people in America that are getting bankrupted just because they need these medications, and they're so extortionately expensive. You know, you're looking at a couple of hundred, if not a couple of $1,000 per pill, you know, and these people are like, it's either make yourself bankrupt to make yourself well again, or die. It's quite simply that, you know, and this is what is wrong with the American healthcare system. But anyway, that's sort of what the song seems to be talking about. Because it opens up with the lines, swallow your freedom, swallow your smile, swallow your sanity that crawls and itching inside. So swallow your smile, you know, swallow your freedom. That's almost like talking about antidepressants, you know. You're swallowing something to make you smile. You're swallowing something to make you feel sane again, you know, swallow your sanity. You know, you're taking a pill to make you feel sane again. You're swallowing a pill to make you smile again. You're taking medications to make you happy. You're taking medications to calm you down. You know, everything these days is controlled by pills, you know. No one is actually treated anymore. You know, these companies will just keep throwing tablets at you to make things better. That was like an example. Several years ago, I had a problem with my shoulder. I still actually have the problem. After I had a bad accident, I've got a sort of permanently pinched nerve in my neck. And rather than trying to help with like physiotherapy, or even, you know, they even suggested that maybe an operation could be done to free up the nerve in my neck. Rather than doing that, they just threw a whole bunch of pills at me. When I went back and said these aren't doing anything, they just threw a different kind of pill at me. And every time I went back saying, you know, these aren't working, or these have got side effects which, you know, are really badly affecting me, they just kept throwing me different kinds of pills. They didn't actually try in any other way to fix it, because, you know, they make money from these pharmaceutical companies by prescribing the drug, but it's also costing a whole lot of money to get this drug. You know, so rather than, you know, treating the injury or the pain with physical therapy or even an operation, which would make it go away, they're instead just throwing pills at it in the hope that it will sort itself out. Anyway, we got the cure, we got your fate, we got everything you want so you don't have to think again. Again, you know, controlling the way people's minds are working with drugs, like with antipsychotics, antidepressants, you know, all these sort of things, ADHD pills, you know, what have you. Sometimes those are necessary, that's fair enough, but again, you know, that, you know, it's manipulating your mind in a way. From botanicals to synthetic drugs, pharmaceutical industry is born. It's not to cure, it's about control. Your money, your health, they want to own it all. See, again, you know, these pharmaceutical companies are making these drugs. They don't care about actually healing people. They want people to be reliant on what they're providing so that they can make so much more money from it. It's like, yes, you need this pill. It's going to cost you several £1,000s a bottle, but you need it. You have to have it. So, you know, they're basically saying, this will make you feel better, but I want all of your money. You know, these drugs, they might take a bit to create, that's fair enough, but the amount that they charge for these things is just unbelievable. You know, it's basically like only the rich are allowed to get better. You know, if you're poor, you're screwed. You're just left on the curb to die. You know, it's only the sick that suffer, you know. You're the chemical whore. They make you beg on your knees for more. A chemical whore steals your life, steals your mind, whatever is left of your soul. We'll make you addicted, our little bitch. We love your money much more than your pitiful health. With our expensive pills, we control your fear. We disconnect you and tell you what to feel. Again, you know, there's that line there. We love your money much more than your pitiful health. You know, again, we don't care whether you get better or not. We just want you to pay for these pills. We want to make money off of your sickness. With our expensive pills, we control your fear. We disconnect you and tell you what to feel. Then it goes back into that sort of pre-chorus. From botanicals to synthetic drugs, pharmaceutical industry is born. It's not to cure, it's to control. Your money, your health, they want to own it all. You're the chemical whore. They make you beg on your knees for more. A chemical whore steals your life, steals your mind, whatever is left of your soul. Tranquilized mind to make sure you won't make trouble or fight. Remote controlled drugs, you can't tell right from wrong or lies. And again, goes into that, you're the chemical whore. They make you beg on your knees for more. A chemical whore steals your life, your mind, whatever is left of your soul. So it's actually interesting because I don't think I've actually come across this topic being covered by another band before. You know, we've had bands talking about things like depression and like rich companies, you know, feeding off the poor, and like the way governments tax the poor to make the rich even richer. But we've never actually covered this specific topic, I don't think. But it is another important, you know, topic that needs to be spoken about, because, you know, these pharmaceutical companies are, you know, charging several hundred, several $1,000s per pill. And, you know, again, you know, if you're poor, you're screwed. You know, there's no way you're going to get better, because health insurance will only cover it for a certain amount of time, and then, you know, you're going to have to dive in and pull out a pocket. And the amount that these companies charge for drugs is extortionate, you know. But as long as they keep making money, they don't care. They don't care if the sick person dies, as long as they've got all of their money before they die. That's all they care about. And, you know, again, like I said, they're just throwing drugs at everything in the hope that, you know, they'll get people addicted to the drug. You know, these people need the drug, they need more, you know, in order to feel better. And it gets to the point where, like, if someone is taking, for example, a painkiller like tramadol, for example, it's an opioid. It's an opium-based drug. It gets to the point where someone gets so used to taking that drug that it's actually painful not to take it, even though the actual thing that they're treating is either gone or, you know, has subsided, what have you. They're now so programmed that taking this drug is normal, and that's what makes them feel normal, that not taking it, it causes them physical pain. So, you know, they're getting people addicted to their drugs so that they will buy more. They're getting people so reliant on these drugs that they will buy more, just so that they can pull every penny out of that person's pocket before they inevitably die. And it's disgusting, you know. The whole thing with the Hippocratic Oath is first do no harm. But by bowing to these pharmaceutical companies, they are actually causing more harm than good, because people are getting addicted and reliant on these drugs when, you know, they could actually go and treat someone. You know, put them into physical therapy when they need it, rather than just throwing painkillers at them and hoping it will go away. You know, this problem I've had with my shoulder, I've had this in my shoulder for a good, at least 10 years, maybe longer. And it still kills me. It's still agony. But I gave up because, you know, I asked them to send me to physiotherapy. They didn't do it. You know, they suggested that there was possibly an operation that could alleviate the pain in my shoulder, but nothing ever came of it. Instead, they just keep throwing pills and pills and pills at me. I just gave up because, you know, they're obviously not looking to actually help people. They're just looking to make money with medications. Something that really needs to be, you know, something that really needs to be fixed. You know, doctors, you know, being a doctor used to be a noble profession. You know, they used to be so widely respected. But now, you know, you go to a doctor's surgery, they want to get you in the office and out of the office as fast as humanly possible. Just so that they can either throw more pills at more people or what have you. You know, they don't take the time to actually find out anything about you anymore. It's like, what's wrong? Right, pills. That's it. You know. Anyway, I went on a bit of a rant there, but for the actual song, I really liked it. You know, it's got classic Hypocrisy sound to it. You know, as soon as that guitar tone came in, that was it. Classic Hypocrisy. Couldn't go wrong. Pete Tegren, again, fantastic voice. I mean, he's been working recently with Till Lindemann from Rammstein on the, well, Lindemann project. They've released 2 albums. And, of course, Tegren was also frontman for Bloodbath for quite some time. You know, so he's kept sort of active, but to see him come back with Hypocrisy is just fantastic, because I really enjoy this band, and I have done for years. And they've got such a wide variety of music throughout their albums as well. You know, you got things like All Turned Black, which is like a sort of really sort of soft, melodic ballad of a song, but then you go into things like The Pleasure of Molestation, which is like really brutal, fast, and insane. And then, you know, you got these sort of songs, which is, I would say, is sort of the middle of the road for what you'd expect from Hypocrisy, you know, over the last 12 albums. But yeah, I really love the song. Peter's always done different things with his voice, like he's done the deep gutturals, he's done the high-pitched screams, and in songs, for example, like All Turns Black, it's a more clean vocal style, but not necessarily clean, if that makes sense. You know, there's still a bit of distortion in there. But yeah, I've always loved their music, really enjoyed this track, and I'm really looking forward to when the new album comes out, because you can bet your bottom dollar I am getting that as soon as it drops. But I have been waffling on for quite some time, so I'm going to leave that as it is. Now, if anybody would like to make a suggestion for a track for me to react to, then please do so by all means. You can drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or you could even message me through my Patreon, where you could also help to support this channel, which would, of course, be a massive help to me, since every piece of content I upload to this channel gets immediately demonetized, which is a bit frustrating, but, you know, it is what it is. There's an option in Patreon where you can get your suggestion jumped to the front of the queue, should you so desire it. There is a limit on how frequently you can do that. It's limited to once a month, and that's just to be fair to other people who might be dropping suggestions either through Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram comments. And if you do drop me a suggestion through those more regular means, do know it could take me a while to get around to your suggestion, since I do get suggested so many new tracks every single day that my list grows faster than I can record the videos. And of course, I did recently take a month off, so I've got a lot of catching up to do anyway. But I do write down every suggestion I get, so it should hopefully get done eventually. But, you know, it might take me a while to get to it. Also, MetalHead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose goal is to put an end to hate crimes, and one of the main facets of that is hate crimes against people of the alternative culture. And that's something that I believe in very, very strongly, because it's something that gets very widely ignored. But the thing is, it is actually a very big problem, and it's something that really needs to be addressed, because every single day all around the world, people from the alternative community are getting violently attacked just purely for the fact that they listen to alternative music or wear alternative fashion. And, you know, when this sort of thing happens, nothing gets said about it. The last time there was any widespread conversation about this sort of thing happening was 14 years ago, when Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend Rob Maltby were violently and brutally assaulted by a group of 5 or 6 people who beat them, knocked them to the ground, kicked them, punched them, and stamped on their heads so violently that they both ended up in comas. Now, thankfully, Rob Maltby did survive the assault. He was in a coma for around about a week and a half, maybe a little bit longer, I can't remember exactly. But he did thankfully survive. Sophie Lancaster, on the other hand, she was in a coma for 13 days before she succumbed to her injuries and she died. This young woman, she was 20 years old and was beaten to death by a group of 5 or 6 people just purely for the fact that she listened to alternative music and wore alternative clothing. Now, when this happened, this was all over the news, as rightfully it should have been. And over time, other news stories came in and it sort of faded into the background, which is to be expected. But in the 14 years since that's happened, there has been nothing said about any other attacks. But I know there have been several hundred, if not several thousand, similar assaults. The only difference is no one has died in any of those attacks. And that is the big difference. No one died. But it shouldn't take someone's death for this to get spoken about. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to die before something gets done. Every day we hear about all these other hate crimes like sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, religious hatred, ableism, etc. We hear these every single day in every kind of media. But when it comes to someone getting violently assaulted because they listen to alternative music, not a word. And that's not good enough. A couple of years ago, there was a young woman in Glasgow, Scotland, who was running a charity gig. At one point during the evening, she had to go back to her home, which was a 5-minute walk away from where she was hosting the gig. In the time between leaving the venue and getting to her home, she was assaulted twice by, again, a group of people, a group of 5 or 6 people, violently beating her, knocking her to the ground, kicking her, punching her, and stamping on her. And this happened twice, within a matter of minutes of each other. This wasn't in the news. This wasn't in the newspapers. Nothing was said. Nothing on social media. Nothing at all. The only reason I know about it is because a friend told me about it, and the only reason he knows about it is because he was friends with the person that was assaulted. Now, why wasn't this in the news? If this had been a racially motivated crime, if this had been a homophobically, motivated crime, if this had been motivated by disability or religion or whatever, this would have been all over the news for weeks. But no. This was a young woman, again, she was about 20, 21 years old. A young woman, on her own, violently and brutally assaulted by a group of people just because of her taste in music. Nothing was said. This needs to change. And this is what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. They want to bring more attention to the fact that these sorts of things are happening and that people are getting really badly hurt. People are getting hospitalized with broken limbs and sometimes even more life-threatening injuries just because of their taste in music. The Sophie Lancaster Foundation, they want more people to know that this is going on. Because they don't want to see another family go through what they went through when they had to watch their daughter slowly die over the course of 2 weeks because of the small-minded actions of a group of people who just couldn't tolerate the fact that someone liked something different. Something needs to be done. So if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there's a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their overall goal is, because they can explain it a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any small way, whether it be like a small donation through their website or even something as simple as one of these Sophie wristbands, or maybe even that one, they've got a whole bunch of other cool stuff over on their web store. The smallest amount can make the biggest difference. And the sooner we get more people talking about this, the sooner we raise more awareness of the fact that this is a very big problem, the sooner we get more people to realise, that this really needs attention bringing to it, so we can prevent any further deaths over something as petty as a taste in music. The sooner we get more people talking about it, the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But I'm going to leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.